Hey, what is going on, everybody? Hey, today's going to be an awesome video because I am going to be going over my 6-month review on the GoPro Hero 11, and I'm going to tell you my good experiences and my bad experiences, and I'm going to approach it from a hiker's perspective, of what I saw with it. I also took it mountain climbing, I took it snowshoeing, skiing, and just going to tell you all about it. And yeah, here we go. Okay, so the quality of the camera is pretty good for the most part. It does the job. I like the quality of the detail that you're able to get from the camera. Multiple different views. You got the standard view, you got the super view, you got the hyper view. I'm a really big fan of the hyper view. That is a new feature that came along with this camera, and there have been some people, who have, YouTube reviewers and stuff who have said, well, I'm not too big of a fan of the hyper view just because it kind of warps and gives the fisheye lens effect to the corners of your footage. It provided a really, really good way to just show people all around of what is going on in the background for me. Okay, so this just goes without saying. I really do like this about a GoPro. This is one of the reasons why I switched to an action camera like this. I used to do, earlier in my vlogging channel, I used to actually record a lot with my phone. And that got old really quickly just because I'm walking around like this all the time. And, I paid a lot of money for my phone, and I didn't want to risk it on certain adventures, climbing a mountain or something, a volcanic plug or something like that, where the phone slips out of my hands, it bashes up against a rock, and I've lost my phone. I have to buy a new phone. So I didn't want to do that anymore. And I started leaning towards an action camera like this. And yeah, it's great. It's fantastic. So this one has been a little bit controversial just because some people have experienced some good battery life with this camera. Other people not so much, but for me, for the most part, it has done a pretty good job. There was one point where I was actually snowshoeing with this camera, and I was going from one mountain peak to another mountain peak in a span of about 35 minutes. Had the camera mounted onto my head, had it on the whole time, and recorded the whole journey. And did a pretty good job. And this was in the snow. Now, I will say that I do use the Enduro batteries. I don't use the regular batteries. They're the Enduros, and works out pretty well for me. Yeah, you pay a little bit more money for them, but they do what they need to do, and I'm pretty satisfied. Yeah, so this year, GoPro introduced a new chip, a new processor into this camera, and it does spectacular. Navigating through the menus has been pretty swift, pretty clean, pretty responsive. It doesn't lag as much. I'm coming from a GoPro Hero 8, and it's a lot faster than a Hero 8, and really haven't experienced a whole lot of problems with it, but it's been good so far. So this is another feature that GoPros are known for, and the stabilization is pretty good for the most part for what I do and the activities that I've been partaking in with the camera, and it does a fantastic job without a gimbal. Digital stabilization without a gimbal is fantastic because you don't have to carry all this extra equipment with you. So it works out for me. Now this is a new feature that they put into their camera this year, and I am definitely a fan of it. I like it. It definitely helps you to pose yourself with how you're going to pose your shot. And if you're going to take a picture of yourself, you could get your angle correct, put the timer on, and boom, you got yourself a selfie right there. And it really helps as far as trying to capture the perfect shot. And I know there have been some YouTube reviewers and some people who have said, well, why isn't it a touch screen like other action cameras have, but that really is not a big deal for me. So for this camera, doesn't really matter for me, but it works. It's great, and I like it. So this has been one of those hit or miss kind of things as well. For me, the customer service has been good for the most part. I did run into an issue with my first camera. Now, full disclosure, this is my second GoPro Hero 11. The first camera I had some problems with, and I'll tell you guys about that a little bit later in the cons. and GoPro was able to help me out, and they even replaced my first camera for free without a subscription, you know, and that was amazing. That was awesome. They back their product. They definitely want to keep the reputation as having the standard when it comes to action cameras, and they definitely provided, you know, but for the most part, it has been a positive experience for me. Okay, so this has been something that I was kind of disappointed with, you know, just because with my first GoPro Hero 11, I experienced some troubles with that. You know, there were a couple of different occasions where I dropped the camera accidentally, and I really do believe that after that it started to affect the performance of the camera. You know, it wasn't as durable, I found, as my GoPro Hero 8. The Hero 8 I think was a lot more durable, and it was, I don't know, it was kind of disappointing to see that with this camera, you know, kind of a bummer. Now this has been a plus and a negative for me with this, you know, because I started to experience, due to those accidents that I had dropping the camera, I started to experience some jittery footage, you know, and it started to happen. I was up in the mountains, started to record. I think I was like recording my 10th shot or something, and it started to get jittery. So I took out the battery, put it back in, restarted it, and the problem seemed to go away. Well, about a couple of months later, I was hiking somewhere else. I was actually snowshoeing up a mountain, and lo and behold, it starts to come back again. Same exact thing. And I was really disappointed. I was like, what in the world is going on here? You know, I didn't want to deal with that issue, so I had to reach out to GoPro and try to get them to help me out with it, but it was not cool to deal with. What I started to notice with this camera was that I would record sometimes and I would hear the audio start to get muffled, almost like you're putting that effect when you put the GoPro in water. You know, you take it out and it's this muffled, weird, it's trying to clear itself out kind of sound to it. Really beautiful day. Wanted to take advantage of it and come outdoors and explore. So, and then it goes back to the cold fronts. It's been very strange. And then yesterday was pretty interesting because it was mostly cloudy, and then it started to rain, and I started to experience that with my footage. Well, the only thing about that was that I didn't put it in water, and it was doing that. You know, it was very weird to hear that. So very disappointing. Again, it was just one of those things, you know, where I didn't expect that to happen. So this really hasn't been improved upon a whole lot, in my opinion. I think there has to be other ways to try and get better wind resistance when it comes to these cameras, but I didn't really see a whole big improvement from this compared to the Hero 8, and yeah, it's just something where they need to work on. This was also something where I felt like they fell short. You know, the file transfer, trying to transfer your files from the camera to a Mac is not existent. You know, I can't even find the camera on my Mac, and for some reason it can on the PC. Yeah, I don't know. GoPro has to reach out to Apple, or Apple has to reach out to GoPro in order for them to actually get the connection going on there. But that was pretty disappointing. You know, it's so tedious to actually take out the SD micro card and then put it into an SD card reader and then put it into my Mac and then finally find the files in there. But, you know, hopefully they can improve upon that on a future model. Now this has been one of those things again where it's a positive thing, it's a negative thing, and I am thankful, I am grateful, and it's fantastic that they replaced my first GoPro Hero 11, but it was kind of a tedious process, and I think the reason being is because I didn't have a subscription. You know, it took about a month in order for that whole ordeal to get settled, and I had to send them different clips, a total of 6 different clips of me just doing random things in order for them to see that there is an actual problem. There is a defective thing going on with this camera, and it needs to be replaced, you know, and they backed up their product, and they did send me a new one, but it was kind of tedious. Now when GoPro came out with this model, they were advertising that the low light capabilities had been improved and it's awesome and amazing and it'll change your life and all this other kind of stuff. I'm exaggerating, obviously. And so I took him up on that, you know, and I did record in low light situations, and I didn't really see a whole lot of improvements compared to the Hero 8, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. They still have to fix that. They still have to improve on that. That would probably be improved if they put a bigger sensor onto this camera. But then, if they do that, they have to make the camera bigger. It's going to be a little bit heavier, and it's not going to be as small and portable as it used to be. So yeah, I don't know. It's a hard one for sure. Alright guys, so what is the overall verdict when it comes to this camera? You know what, I really do love this camera. You know, I'm glad that I upgraded. I'm glad that GoPro was able to stand by their word and their reputation and replace the first defective camera. It's been doing well ever since. You know, let's see how it does in the next few months. But it is disappointing that I had to deal with the issues that I did deal with, and hopefully that doesn't become a habit with every release that they have from here on out. It's a great camera, you know. Is it an improvement from my Hero 8? Absolutely. I'm glad I upgraded. Now, is it an improvement from the Hero 10? Probably not so much, you know. So, yeah. But that is my review, guys. Hey, thank you so much for joining me on this video. Hey, check out my background. Cabazon Peak in the background, man. Beautiful. All right, check you guys later.